It's 4 a.m. in the woods. I just woke up, we read the Bible, studied it, and prayed, and then now I'm talking to y'all. It's the first time I've opened my mouth to even talk, and it feels a little weird. This series is a chapter by chapter study that God had me start a couple of weeks back, and I've been consistently just doing it. Ever since he called me to the study, he's been the one waking me up at 4 a.m. every single morning, sometimes 3 a.m., just to study and share whatever I need to share with you guys. He has dropped so much wisdom for us and blessed us so much through this series, and I'm so excited to see what he's gonna do next. Now, before I lose you, let's get to it. Last chapter, we were in 2 Samuel 2. In that chapter, we're seeing the start of civil war. Battles happening at Gibeon. We're seeing some human ambition pop up. They were like, hey, let's start this war off with a competition. We talked about in the last chapter the battle at Gibeon. There was an interesting story we didn't talk about on the video last, but it was in the chapter, so you may have read it. But Abner is on Saul's side. Joab is on David's side. When they were at the battle of Gibeon, towards the end, when Abner and Saul's troops started to lose, there's this crazy story I picture in my head, but Joab's brother, when Abner runs away, so they're losing, Abner's losing, Abner starts to run away. Well, Joab's brother starts chasing after Abner in full speed. Mentions in the Bible how fast he is. He's like Olympic runner fast, like just sprinting straight to Abner. He has no weapons. And Abner hollers at him like, what are you doing? Why are you following me? Pick up a weapon at least. If you keep chasing me, I'm going to kill you. And that happens. Joab's brother kept chasing Abner. Abner kills Joab's brother. So that leads us to some interesting conflicts coming up in this chapter. Chapter 3. During the long war between the house of Saul and the house of David, David was growing stronger and the house of Saul was becoming weaker. Sons were born to David in Hebron. David has now 6 sons. Looks like he accumulated some more wives as well. During the war between the house of Saul and the house of David, Abner kept acquiring more power in the house of Saul. Now, Saul had a concubine whose name was Rizpah, daughter of Aiah, and Ishbosheth questioned Abner, why did you sleep with my father's concubine? Some people perceive this and believe this as an attempt to ask him, are you trying to take over the kingdom? Abner became extremely angry about Ishbosheth's accusation. Am I a dog's head who belongs to Judah, he asked. All this time I've been loyal to the family of your father Saul, to his brothers, to his friends, and haven't betrayed you to David. But now you accuse me of a wrongdoing with this woman? May God punish Abner and do so severely if I don't do for David what the Lord swore to him, to transfer the kingdom from the house of Saul and establish the throne of David over Israel and Judah from Dan to Beersheba. Ishbosheth did not dare to respond to Abner because he was very afraid of him after this. Abner was not playing. He sent messengers as his representatives to say to David, whose land is it? Make your covenant with me, and you can be certain I am on your side to turn all Israel over to you. So Ishbosheth's accusation caused Abner to switch sides. Humans are messy, relationships are complex, and it can shift things very quickly. This was David's response to Abner. Good. I will make a covenant with you. However, there's one thing I require of you. You will not see my face unless you first bring Saul's daughter Michal when you come to see me. If you've been following along in the study, you remember Saul gave Michal in marriage to David and said, you can marry her, but you have to give me 100 Philistine foreskins. And David did that. And so he married Michal. But when the whole fallout between Saul and David happened, David had to leave Michal behind. And so he's requesting, I want my wife back then. Ishbosheth sent someone to take her away from her husband, Paltiel, a son of Laish. Her husband followed her weeping all the way to Bahurim. Abner said to him, go back. So he went back. I feel kind of bad for the guy. Like, he ends up marrying Michal because David's been gone. And now he's lost his wife. It's just very sad. It's also interesting to me that Ishbosheth was the one that sent for Michal, his sister. So it makes me wonder, how did Abner tell Ishbosheth about this? Because this was to create a peace treaty between Abner and David. Abner gets to where David is, and they discuss this peace treaty. David throws a big banquet for him, and Abner leaves in peace. Well, Joab was out doing some military stuff. He came back and he heard about the peace treaty with Abner and that Abner had been there. And Joab goes to David and kind of rebukes him, like, why did you let him go? Why are we doing this? See, Joab is still salty about his brother's death, which that's understandable. I get it. But however, Joab ends up taking revenge into his own hands. He lures Abner before Abner can make it back. They had this peace treaty. David and him made a peace treaty together, and Abner's leaving. Things were gonna go well, and then Joab lures him aside and kills him. He took revenge into his own hands. David hears about this. David didn't know that this was going to happen. David hears about this and he is really upset. He's upset with Joab and he publicly mourns over Abner. He goes into a fast, he goes into a mourning, and he even says about Joab, let God deal with the guilty party on this one. His sadness and his public display of grief and mourning for Abner, it looked good to the people and it showed his integrity and his good leadership, and it was just good for them to have David as a leader. David is a good leader at this point, and David is still leaving revenge in God's hand, is gonna let God deal with Joab. What a long and winding road sometimes that is God's timing and his promises. They just start to unfold slowly in his time, not in ours. We'd rather be like the genie in the lamp. Hey, I want $1 million, and then it drops on our lap. But he doesn't work that way. He doesn't operate that way. He lets things happen with his power, but it is organic to us. It's amazing to me that the way God moves and what he does is miraculous, but yet feels organic to us. Like he's our father and we kind of know him. We see how complex relationships make it very difficult sometimes, but God's still sovereign, even with those complex relationships, even with human ambition, even when we take a different path, he's still in control. And that is chapter 3, and we will cover chapter 4 on Monday. I do like to take Sundays off where I don't worry about filming and I'm just with my family. I read something separate and just have that Sunday just away. But I will see you all Monday at the next 4 a.m. and thank you for watching, and I'm just so happy you guys are here.